It's so great to meet you. Thank you for waking up on the other side of the world to take a minute out today. It's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Awesome. You too, Joe.
So let's begin our journey with this. 6 years ago, this pandemic changed the world, changed the way that we all lived. How did you get through the coronavirus era, and how has it changed and influenced the way that you live in 2026?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think that's a question that I actually don't think I've ever been asked on a podcast before. So I love it.
Yes.
And it's got such a big answer, which I think is why you asked this question.
Uh-huh.
Look, for me, it changed everything in Australia, as was very broadly broadcast to the world. We had some of, if not the most strict lockdown protocols in place, and isolation became our norm in a way that, I may have experienced many bouts of isolation through the initiations I've been partaking in as a shaman and a vision quest protector, but nothing I don't think can prepare you for this kind of isolation. And because my networks are global, I didn't really have that local hub. We were allowed to have bubble buddies in Australia, where you could have someone, if they lived, within a few kilometers from you, able to regularly visit you and that. And I didn't have any friends that lived in my proximity, like really close to me. And my son was with me every second week. And so I literally went about 7 or 8 months without any meaningful adult contact whatsoever,
Wow.
which was huge for
Yeah.
a human being to experience. And I love my own company and still went pretty pretty deep into my own company. And like so many others, I feel COVID gave me that opportunity to meet aspects of myself that I had, no matter how much work we do on ourselves, we are the I am, we are the everything and the nothing. And we have so much landscape and territory to cover within our own being. And it really gave me an opportunity to dive into that in ways that I don't think I will ever replicate again in my life. And it felt like this, what ended up being, 7 months in one instance, ended up, I think we ended up having a pretty solid couple of years of really strong isolation here. And it was like an extended night of the soul, an extended top of the mountain spiritual awakening, as well as an extended opportunity to see every bad behavior and pattern that I personally have play out for me. Like watching the inner child chuck the biggest tantrums and watching what was an unhealthy relationship with food come to light, because that became a huge comfort for me. And so all these really interesting opportunities to observe myself, and in doing so as well, I guess observe the collective humanity and how we were either rising to meet what was moving for us, or how we were allowing it to bring us into deeper states of disconnect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it was a really big time. And, I must admit that there were many times within that period that I really, really lent on my spirituality. And that really is, I think, having a strong relationship with the sacred and having a relationship with nature and the more than human realms. Well, whilst I was alone for a lot of the time, I was very rarely lonely in that time. And that's a gift that I guess my walk has really given me, that I just wish I could give to everybody.
So let's get into what you do on a daily basis. There's a lot of
Mhm.
titles from being an entrepreneur to being a visionary guide. I- If we can synthesize this for a 13-year-old brain, I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of kids at career day. And one of the kids in the back of the room is like, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I've paused because, again, never asked a question quite that way. I love it. I would have to say my answer is I do for the human soul what a brain surgeon does for the body.
I love it.
That would be how I would have to describe that to a 13-year-old
That
on
makes,
career day without totally spinning them out.
yeah, that totally makes sense. So when you were that age, what was your dream life job? What did you want to be?
I wanted to be Indiana Jones.
All right. That's awesome.
I wanted to be an archaeologist, and I spent probably 6 years of primary school. We call it primary school here. I think it's elementary school, and middle school for you guys. Uh, I spent a solid amount of time digging up shit in my backyard,
That's great.
pretending it was something it wasn't, and often being very disappointed when I would discover the truth about what
Yeah.
I had dug up.
Yeah. So what were the elements growing up that gave you this idea of exploring, of getting to the
Mm.
root, the organic center of us as people, but to also be a successful entrepreneur? That's an eclectic mix of things. What did you see? What was taught to you? What were the seeds that eventually bloomed into who you are?
Yeah, look, I know that my upbringing and my childhood was a soul's choice before I came into this world. Like I believe we all have our choices before we come into this world about the kinds of lessons we want to learn. And for me, I chose the big stuff this time around, and to experience the kinds of contrast in love and relationships and trust and safety that many don't, but also many have. And so I grew up in a home of domestic violence. And that is the answer to your question, as bizarre as that might sound. I grew up honing the skill to read the room, honing the skill to be able to understand landscapes of everyone around me and how they might or might not impact me and my personal safety. And also that encouraged a very deep introspection because my outward expression was not welcome and often was unsafe. And so I created a rich inner landscape. And at that point, I would have said in my life that at that young age, that definitely it helped me dissociate from the pain and the upbringing and the terror, and help me dissociate from really strict religious roots, which also wove through that, which created a lovely mess for me to undo throughout life.
Yeah, for sure.
And I couldn't thank the universe, source, my parents, and myself enough for giving me that deep experience. That it gave me so much richness, and to be honest, it awoke talents and skills and spiritual gifts in me that I don't think I would have ever had in this lifetime had it not been for that experience. It didn't stop me from repeating those experiences throughout my adulthood for a period of time. And that gave me more beautiful, rich lessons to learn. But it was the beginnings of me understanding how systems work and how all living things are interconnected, because I could literally feel the energy as if I was sensing vibrations on a spider's web or something like that. That's how attuned you become when you're brought up in an environment of trauma.
So who was that inspirational force that's allowed you to navigate and evolve and to give people that level of clarity as well? What's been that force in your life, that hero?
Well, I think there's been many, but the first one that sticks out in my mind would have been David J. Schwartz. He wrote an extraordinary book, which I feel every human being should read at one point in their life. It's titled The Magic of Thinking Big. And I was able to read that at 16. and it changed me forever. It gave me a global perspective. It showed me how all of the internal dreaming and exploration and imagination could actually turn into positive life steps for myself. And it inspired me um, in so intensely to take ownership for the victimhood I'd been living in. And I strongly remember, and I use to this day in training and in the intros for when we're doing talks to prepare people for their first vision quest. But we have, his the one lesson, the one takeaway I got from it, which changed my life, was everything is a reason or an excuse. We can use everything as the reason why we can or the excuse why we can't. And it when we apply that theory, every time that I find myself doing some mental gymnastics that might not be so exciting for my own inner being, and we all have those moments, I sit there and I'm like, well, Kat, is this one of those reasons or those excuses? And every time I can answer to myself, yeah, I'm going to use this as a reason, and how am I going to go and do about that? And I think it's just so powerful because it keeps us out of our victim and in our power.
So I just put this on hold. I listen to audiobooks. I just put it on hold. So thank you. I appreciate that. The other thing that changes the trajectory of our lives are these little moments of kindness that people do to other people. And it can be someone close to you, it can be a stranger, it can be someone on vacation. Do you remember a moment in your life where someone did something really kind for you that changed the way that you looked at humans or the way that you looked at this reality? Have you had a moment like that?
Hmm. It's a really interesting question because I've spent a lot of my life in service to other people. I would say for me, the small kindnesses have come in just deep and true connection with people. Um, for me, there's never been a profound someone stepping completely out of their way to do some kind of, um, you know, gesture, random gesture. But also, there's been lots of times when, you know, I've had someone lean in a little bit closer and just ask that one question, which gave me an opportunity to really reflect in or give me a completely different perspective. And yeah, I would say that my experience of kindnesses are a regular daily occurrence, just in the fact, I think it's very much about the energy we also bring to the table. I walk around feeling that energy of how can I help, and I think that that also reflects in how people respond to me. I assume my fellow man, if something fell on the ground, will rush to help me pick it up. I assume that if I need to get into a lane of traffic because I've made a wrong decision as to which one to sit in, that the space will just open up. That's how I live my life. And so I see what most people might see as a random act of kindness as, the universe just winking on me. And I've seen so much evidence of that, that the universe has got my back in all these ways that I think over time, I would be less inclined to be able to select one particular one.
Yeah.
But yeah, kindness is a very, very interesting concept too, because it comes wrapped with, oftentimes in society, we wrap it in transaction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, as someone that's transformative for others to get to that better place in their lives, a visionary guide, a wisdom keeper, there's a different philosophy, there's a different depth that's going to go into the way that you see this life and the way that you are.
Mm,
How do you
mm,
maintain that? What is it every day when that alarm clock does or doesn't go off that gets your
mm.
feet on the ground to do this at a high level, to give
Mm.
back to people, but to also nurture your own soul. What is that energy for you every day to do this very special gift that you do give people?
I love this question. Look, I mean, because it allows me to share with you my humanness. Yeah, I feel really, really grateful that I've landed in a space where I've moved through enough stuff that I can truly receive what my soul's purpose and gifts are in this lifetime. And the way that that happens is not through grandiose spiritual enlightening experiences, whilst they're part of the journey. The one thing that keeps me grounded and showing up every day, and that I spend, if we were to whittle down to the core, the reason why people come to work with me is to find the miracle in the mundane
Yeah,
and to love it and to learn that every moment is worth the breath. Every moment we live in this moment is worth our reverence, is worth our time, is worth our intention. We have lost the art through our modern technologies of understanding the power of our words. Um, we've deviated from being able to just wait in line without having to check a phone, or the beauty that I have met just in simply not doing anything when I wait for my coffee.
uh-huh.
And the conversations or the interactions with pets, or just noticing a bird in the tree building a nest. Like we when we start to attune differently to our relationship with presence and stillness, we're able to enjoy hanging out the washing.
Yeah,
We're able to see the gift in waking up super early to an alarm clock. The vibrancy that comes with that, whilst yeah, sure, the body might also be saying, "Oh, I was really enjoying that sleep." We're also able to experience the depth of our aliveness, and for me, our humanness is so messy and gorgeous and juicy and imperfect, and that's what I came here for. I
yeah.
came here to experience the deeper spectrum of humanness, to have the spirit being experience of being in a human body. And, for my own self, it's great. I'm having this big emotion right now. They don't have labels anymore. It's just the joy in the moment of allowing something to move through this human body and giving myself permission to experience it in that moment without a story attached to it. Yeah, I'm not perfect at it, but it's certainly the philosophy that I apply on a day-to-day basis, and it gives me deep peace, incredible peace.
When I talk to very enlightened people like you, I hear stories of how our soul's on a journey.
Mm.
And there's missions that we get on as we go from life to life and realm to realm. But I continue as I get older on this planet to feel like when I look around at everyone, we are pretty fortunate to be able to incubate these vessels and to
Mm.
have this experience with such a wide range of unbelievability, from the way that our bodies work to birds to rhinos to all these things that are a part of this massive mix of this blue rock we get to hurl around on for our lifetimes. Do you feel like we, all of us, no matter what our circumstances are in a very lucky place, like we all won a lottery ticket on the way down here?
I'm not so sure whether I see it as a lotto ticket. I do think we're in a wonderful place. I do think that we get to experience something that's, when you look at if you were to lift the veil to the cosmos, all of the ecosystem of energy that's actually around us and all the beings that are actually with us, we're such a finite group.
Yeah.
um, and I feel that we have chosen to come to Earth to have that human lived experience for sure. Um, I feel that Growth Planet is a space for the spirit being to truly and deeply understand contrast. And so the 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 opportunity is massive. And I I don't know, the reason why the lotto ticket concept doesn't super sit with me is because that alludes to there being some area for there to have been chance. But so much of quantum physics also speaks so deeply into our interconnectedness and our spiritual experience. I find it very difficult to think that we're here by some random chance.
Sure.
I feel like all the souls that engage with me, including you, Joe, at some point before I decided to arrive on Earth, I had my own, maybe it was a 5 day Kathryn Sforcina summit. And everyone who was interested in playing a role in my life came along and put their hand up, as I did, as I've gone and had a whole bunch of summits with other people's lives and said, I'll be the perpetrator, I'll be the rescuer, I'll be the healer, I'll be the mother, I'll be the friend, the acquaintance, the podcast guest.
Yes.
And we all agreed that we'd collide in each other's lives at these points to create this rich tapestry, as you say, of our human experience. And so, what all often appears random in my mind's eye, these are the outcomes of whatever we're experiencing in this moment, is the outcome of a lesson we have or have not learned from a period of time before in our journey, because everything that we're experiencing today is the mirror of our intentions of our past.
Yeah.
And so for me, there's this beautiful opportunity of, yeah, being able to see such a gift in being here and also understand just how intentional it is. And when we remember that we have all of this spirit being is inhabiting a physical manifestation of its energetic form to learn how to create other physical manifestations of energetic form. um, it becomes a sandbox that we get to play in, and yeah, it makes me wake up every day feeling like I am a little kid getting to build sandcastles, but not so much that I've been, that there's been some form of luck involved to get me here, if that
Sure.
makes sense.
Sure. No, makes sense. So let me ask you this. Speaking of youth and sandcastles, if you had a dream tonight and ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and you
Mm.
walked into a room with the film projector next to that version, and
Yeah.
you hit play, and it was a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived, everything that's happened to you in your life, would that young version of you believe that this is the life that's happened for you?
Oh, completely. Yeah, she would really, really appreciate that. I real. She was so wise. And there are things that I knew when I was 18, 16 to 21 that I had to go back and learn deeper versions of those lessons. But I was onto something back then, and if I had had the faith and belief in myself, I would have spent 20 more years than what I have helping people the way I do now. But
Wow.
she was so clever and she was so onto it, and she learned a few more lessons. She let life knock her about a bit more before she was able to stand so firmly on her feet afterwards. But yeah, I still look back, and some of the best poetry I've ever written, so insightful. I look back and go, wow, that's a wisdom I needed again today as a almost 46-year-old woman.
For sure. So we've been talking about a lot of things that are both, in reality and metaphysical, the kind of this merging. Do you believe that human beings have the mental capacity to grasp what God in a spiritual sense is?
I totally do, because I see people in my work have their experience of the sacred.
Yeah.
They're deep, And I guess part of our own journey of remembering ourselves and bringing ourselves home and learning how to deeply heal or nurture all parts of ourselves to grow into our fullest potential and stand in our fullest power as a sovereign being, stems from being able to recognize the sacred within ourselves. And that's only possible if we're able to have those tangible experiences of the sacred. I believe that's why we have nature, is to give us a
Yeah.
tangible experience of the sacred.
Mm.
Um, and for some people, it's a deeply so subtle, and for other people, it's a sledgehammer that hits them between the eyes. But it doesn't change the impact. I like to say it's like a feather that falls to the floor and how softly it lands for people when they really have those experiences, but that it does have the impact like a sledgehammer on their lives. And allowing people to open and soften and experience a heart-based version of connection with country, as an example. People find their own way there if they're given an invitation and enough time and space to explore, and a holding that allows them to feel safe in that exploration. But I definitely feel it's something that we innately all seek, and we have since, if we do talk archaeology, Gobekli Tepe and all these other amazing wonders around the world we're discovering now, and all their insane technologies, we can't help but also appreciate we've been on a journey to connect to the sacred since the inception of man.
Yeah.
It's been there in our being, and I do believe that we have the ability to see a more than human version of ourselves. It doesn't, for me, need to be called God. It can be called basically. I don't care about the label. Um, I care about the human being having experience of themselves that gives them that remembering of just how valuable and critical they are as a component to the fabric of everything.
So, of everything that you've done in your life, everything that you've experienced and overcome and evolved to this point, what are you the happiest about or the proudest of?
Mm. Just being able to be in my peace no matter what chaos is going on around me, like true peace.
Yeah.
I could say my children, but I haven't done them. I have been involved in bringing their souls into this world, but they've had a lot to do with their co-creation too.
Yeah.
Yes, there are many personal fist pump achievement moments, but at the end of the day, what gives me the joy to wake up every day and get out there and do what I do is wanting to participate in helping other people find that peace that amongst the chaos, that space that's untouchable within ourselves that allows us to have strength to understand who we are and to be part of the flow of life. And sure, things evolve us, but at our core, just to have that strength and understanding that we are held, we're safe, we're loved, we belong, we're whole, we're not broken, we're not too late, we've not just arrived, we're just always right on time, and to give ourselves permission to have the experience of that.
So, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run your show. What's your
Mm.
perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Hmm. Great question. I was asked a similar question only about 2 weeks ago, and I ended up saying to that person everything and nothing.
Yeah.
Um, because I couldn't to use any other explanation would force me to put myself into a box, and that might be the case in this moment. And then 5 minutes later, I have a download or a conversation with someone that completely changes my perspective again. And I love a good perspective shift. So I want to allow myself to have that opportunity, even in describing my own being.
Sure. I totally get it. So if anyone wants to take the next step, they want to reach out, they have questions, transformingtribes.com, is that the best?
Transformingtribes.com, absolutely. My surname is unique enough too that anyone searches the first three letters, I would pop up on any search results. So, yeah, either way, I welcome conversation. I welcome any way that people feel that they may be able to receive some support from me. And yeah, my book recently launched, Bringing the Lost Parts of Me Home, an explorer's guide to reclaiming wholeness, discovering purpose, and living authentically. And that book has been helping a lot of people out there. So people can get in touch with me or subscribe to the website and learn more.
I'm glad you talked about it. We ran away so much with what we were talking about. So,
Mm.
yeah, but that everything, I will make sure to get all of that in the show notes. This has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for taking some time out, for waking up in Australia with us. Have a wonderful day and best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure. All the
Absolutely.
best and all the blessings to you too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.